Okay, and welcome on back to some Minecraft musings on what is today? Tuesday? It's my vacation week, so I'm a little turned around, but it's kind of funny because like even though it's my vacation week, I ended up having the kiddos even more than usual, which is great. Like that's how I'd want to spend my vacation, but it's just funny because like, it's not a lot different. And with my job as laid back as it is, like, I don't know, I'm in such a great spot, but I'm about to go enjoy some of that zip since I don't have the kids today. And we were talking about projects. So, explaining the website that I want to make. I want to make a website that people can go to see unbiased reviews of laws, much similar to the blue books that we get here in Colorado. Every election, we have a blue book. Anytime we vote on anything, it's mandatory that we have a blue book that says, okay, well, this is what's going on with this. So it's like, okay, you can feel better about the way you vote, or like understanding what you're even voting on or what it's for. And we started to talk about Ukraine and LGBTQ and how transgenderism, while okay, it's fine for consenting adults, but it's causing a NATO Ukraine situation, and a lot of Democrats won't hear it. They just won't listen to you. Like once they hear, oh, intolerance, nope, you're evil. You're oh gosh, you're a MAGA, you're a Trumper or something. It's like no, what? And I've lost a few friends. These two people both blocked me in this thread, and I want to get that thread back. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to like get a second account just so I can see what they said and post that up. Because when you block somebody, all of the stuff that you commented on gets removed. You can't see any of it. You can't see anything of the conversation from other people. So, and this lady is an author of one of the LGBTQ books, like for an organization, and she's spreading this stuff. Like she's spreading that Russia's killing gay people, which they're not, by the way. They are not. And that kind of makes me a little mad because if you're saying that people are killing people for that, then you're spreading propaganda. You want to get mad at me? And the original thing, it's like I'm still talking to them. And we were actually pretty civil until they decided they didn't like what they were hearing. And one guy, he unfollowed me. And then they were talking back and forth on the thread that I created. It was my post. Like I posted the Tucker interview, and these are two Democrat people that commented on it. It was like, hey, actually, no, this is wrong. And one guy said F off. Like he just, Mr. Canada was just like F off. Like, no, how dare you spread Putin? There's people out there dying. Well, yeah, who's really pulling the trigger then, huh? Like, who's giving them the guns and who's telling them to fight? Because in that Putin interview, Tucker says that, well, Putin says that it was Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister for England, that told Ukraine no more negotiating. All Ukraine is Ukraine. And when I first heard that, I thought, oh, that's a catchy, that's a catchy saying and motto or whatever. Kind of like from the river to the sea. Oh, but that's really controversial because it's brown people trying to survive. Like, it makes no difference. It's people struggling in a war zone, which the wars are over nonsense that most of the people probably don't even care about. But because the leaders care about it, like transgenderism, and that's what Russia's scared of. They don't want a bunch of their youth to be indoctrinated by people, and it is like the Rainbow Mafia. I'm sorry, like, the fact that how I got attacked there, like verbally and all that, and like and shut down and like refusal to discuss this stuff, all because I didn't completely align with it. That's some Nazistic BS, man. Like that is like right there. You want to call people Hitler, fine, but you turn around and you start acting like the same playbook, like Goebbels or something, spreading propaganda like Russia's killing gay people. It's horrible. I mean, and they might. I don't know. Like, I was waiting for her to give me an article, be like, yep, nope, here are the people, their names. Here's how they died. They died in police custody, or they were executed by gunfire, whatever, or whatever, anything. But she could not produce any of it. She didn't want to, probably. But also, if you're going to say something bold like that people's lives depend on, you better be able to back it up. I mean, otherwise, get out of politics, you know? Or at least, like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be like a cancel culture thing. I admit, like, you still keep them there, but help them understand why what they're doing is, well, wrong. Like, you shouldn't be saying that stuff. Like, people's lives depend on this information, and here you are spreading lies to make people hate Russia. I mean, people hate Putin enough as it is because of the Cold War and all that. He's been a leader for 20 years, but what kind of leader? I don't know. I don't follow his policy. I don't even follow my own leader's policies all that closely. I can't. Who has the time? And the blood and the receipts and everything, the blood is on our hands. We're shipping all these weapons off, and the rest of the world is paying attention. China especially. I watched some of China's stuff from Chinese government officials and like just the things that they're saying about things. And it's like, well, they make a lot of sense. I'd be scared too if America was all crazy like that, shipping weapons all over the world and making people do things that they don't probably don't want to do, all in the name of freedom. And it's like, no, it's in the name of capitalism, so we can keep building guns and selling them to people. Like that's what it comes down to, and that's what's a little sketchy, because we constantly talk about job creation in politics, American politics. It's like, which president can create the most jobs? Well, same with the war on drugs. What percentage of those jobs were jobs to keep punishing people, imprisoning people, like keep pushing our own dictatorship-like laws of like it's so dangerous to have a little bit of substance in your pocket. Like if you have a little baggie of something, you could be facing years in a jail cell. Years. And all of that would probably been gone in a few seconds anyway. That poof, just a memory. Oh, but oh, we caught you. It's like a board game. It's so silly. Like, stamp, stamp, no erases. I caught you with a baggie of drugs. You're going to prison. Like, oh, and you're going to have to spend a lot of money. You're going to be on probation. You're going to have to pay the fees for the probation officer. And if you're caught dealing in Larimer County, that's an instant $3,000 fine. Doesn't matter if you were dealing drugs to make money or if you were dealing drugs to make sure you always had them or what. Guess what? You get to pay $3,000. And you probably don't have $3,000. That's probably why you were selling them to begin with. Like, maybe not to make money to be all rich. Nobody does it to be rich. There's no Scarface. Like, it's just silly. Mostly what it is people experimenting with things, finding out that, oh, this makes you feel funny. Huh. And then they go about their business the next day. Like, that's about the extent of it for most of it. And we're finding that out. That's why Colorado is one of the leaders in ending the drug war. That's it. We got to end it. It is no longer serving any purpose. It is not keeping people safe. Quite the opposite. It is keeping danger in people's lives. And it is disproportionately punishing poor people because, and I've talked about this a lot, like Hunter Biden, we got him on camera smoking crack. Okay, well, and then we also have Joe Biden, his dad, on the floor, the Congress floor or Senate floor or whatever, holding up a quarter. And he's like, this is a quarter. For this amount of crack, you get 5 years in prison. I just helped push legislation through. And of course, he has more hair. This is obviously older and stuff, but still, it's like someone who's bragging about, hey, I just did a thing that's going to make anybody who's caught with something like this go to prison for 5 years. It's like, whoa, that's like, okay, Hitler, like, you know, what? That's the scary stuff right there. And that's how it comes off across. Like, and so it's no wonder that more and more people, well, people are going back and forth. Like, I'll still vote for Biden because it's still better than what Trump's going to do. Like, Trump wants to bring back the firing squad for drug offenses. And he's saying that it's fentanyl. But he never says actually just fentanyl. He says all drugs. And so he casually lumps everything together. And that's a big win for corrections and stuff if they're trying for job security. But at the same time, like, is it worth the job security? Like, if you're just like oppressing people, and who's really the free country, really? I mean, it would be interesting to compare and contrast the substance laws in all these countries. Because I know Russia, it's still illegal, but the only reason, the only reason they had Brittany Griner in there for like years and years was because she was an American basketball star. We could get a deal out of her. Like, that's what they saw. And, and that makes sense. Like, okay. Let's see. I think you have to, and that boat is a dead giveaway. There we go. Okay, so now the boat isn't being pulled that way or that, it's just stationary. But, oh, no, it is getting pulled still. Huh. I can also do this. Maybe it has to stay for a second. Well, we also have these. There you go. See, now the boat isn't bouncing. Because if you have a block under it, then the water is able to fill in like that. So, anyways, it's just... Oh, actually, we need another... We need to unload our inventory a bit. I didn't really come the best prepared to do this project because I had all this glass. And then I just got sidetracked. I was like, oh, let's do this. But basically, legalizing weed in the world will bring world peace. That's just a fact. And I see the trends based on talking to the German guy or the German for a good few hours on a plane to Germany. And he was talking about how Dubai has changed. Like 8 years ago, he was in Dubai, and alcohol was basically forbidden. And then I was just talking to the lady at the smoke shop, and she was like, "Yeah, and I've heard Saudi Arabia, like it's legal now for alcohol, but you have to have a pass, a permit. Like you have to be one of the elite to be able to use it. So they're testing it out, I think, on a trial basis." And so, and really what they should be doing is testing out cannabis. Like skip the alcohol and go straight to cannabis. Like I mean, you know that's going to happen. I mean, like yeah, alcohol is fine. It generates a lot of revenue, but it also generates a lot of problems. Whereas cannabis generates a lot of revenue, it also creates a bunch of, byproducts that you can use and additional things, and then also it creates a lot of peace. It solves a lot of other problems and like I was also talking with her, the true gateway drug is alcohol. If you ask anybody who's using hard drugs or addicted to hard drugs, ask them how it starts. How does your day start? Oh, well, it usually starts with a drink or two. Boom. So it starts with a little bit of alcohol, and then next thing you know, they're ripping, snorting, and going and doing like meth and heroin and crack and all this. And why? I don't know. They had a drink or two. And then they started losing their ability to think clearly. Alcohol clogs your mind, and it allows you to make poor decisions. Like people joke about it, and it's a well-known fact in America, but then like people kind of forget about it. Like, oh yeah, I guess that does make sense. Like, oh, but let's go, because weed's illegal. That's an illegal thing, and it's just the hippies had it right back in the day. The freedom fighters, like the peaceful protest people. And that's the cool thing is now it's on both sides. Like it's not just Republicans or Democrats. The majority of the country thinks it should be legal. I mean, even law enforcement is getting on board. LEAP was law enforcement against prohibition because it causes so many problems and dangerous situations because a person is going to act less rationally if they think they're going to jail. Or if they think they're going to go to prison, especially, like, oh, my life's over, like, my life as I know it, I'm going to be in prison for 10 years of my life, like, that's it. F it, I'm going out. And then next thing you know, they're shooting guns at the cops, and the cops are like, man, I just wanted to make sure he knew his taillight was out, and now he's shooting at me, like, that's why it's literally a war on drugs and anybody who uses drugs. But alcohol, totally fine. All sorts of sex crimes, rape, like, murders, crimes of passion, no worries. Alcohol is fine, and alcohol is the causing factor of a lot of that stuff. So, anyways, I don't think alcohol should be banned either. I mean, because then you get the prohibition problem. We know how that goes. So it should just all be legal, or at least decriminalized, with the understanding that, hey, if you're using these hard drugs for extended periods of time and starting to let your personal life fall, like if you're missing out on your kids' stuff, or if you're impaired around the kids too much, or you're causing dangerous situations, then yeah, it's not a good thing, and you need to do some classes or some counseling. And that's the other thing too. Counseling is so expensive that even if people do want to go in there and like, talk to somebody and get things figured out and understand things a little better, they can only do it if they can afford it or if they have good insurance. And that's something else that we're fixing in the midst of COVID is like everybody needs counseling. Every last person. It's either that or you need a degree in psychology before you start understanding, oh, okay, that's why people do what they do. Because otherwise, and that's why everybody should go to college, because you get that in college. Even if you're not in psychology, you talk with enough people that know that stuff. That it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. Like, this is why. And they can really explain it all nice and neatly for you. But, uh, it's all crazy. And so, anyways, this project that I want to do, it will be a website that has that laid out, and I want to do it for every law, every bill that's passed, and hook up with some people too, like be part of a group and it probably already exists, like people that decipher what laws are, like what are we voting on even, like what is this? People that put together the blue books, like what are we even talking about here? Like, and is it this important? And I think if we had more clarity and communication through a tool like this, people would fight less, be angry less, problems would be caused less. Like it would just be good all around. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it already exists because that's one thing I've found whenever I go set out to build something, like, oh, I'm going to build the next great so and so. Well, it probably already exists. Wait, do I have any emeralds? I do not. So it's a moot point that I see a wandering tradesman or a traveling trader. So, anyways, yeah. So if I make this tool, it's got to have a database attached to it, and it's got to, well, a few databases actually, probably. I mean, because you're going to need images or like objects to display the thread, and then to display it in a nice way where you can move up and down it. You can zoom in or zoom out of certain areas of it, and just be able to analyze what someone said. Like, what did they really say? Because a lot of times XApp it's just too small to fit a response in there. And then like I kind of like I let out some word vomit on a couple of people that were mad that I was debating what Israel's doing right now. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I just see a little mini America. Like, we got hit on 9/11 for about 3,000 people died in the Twin Towers collapsing. It was horrible. Like, all of this, that. We never thought it would happen on American soil and blah, 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 blah. Yet it's fine when we drop bombs, at literally any other country in the world and something like that could happen. We're like, oopsies. That's what drives me nuts. And I love my country. Don't get me wrong. People start saying that you don't, like you're a traitor or whatever, if you start like speaking out against it. And then, wait, who are we complaining about? Weren't we just talking about how communist Russia censors people and doesn't let people out? I mean, yeah, they do, but how is that different from here? Like, then you kind of get like that shock, like, are you kidding me? Like, look what you're doing to me right now. Like, you're trying to censor me. You're trying to talk down to me, talk over me. They called me names. They called me like a nut job and stuff. And I expect it from MAGA. Like, when I'm like saying some pointed thing, like, here, I'm slanting you like this, and I'm ready for an argument, basically. But then when I'm talking with a couple of, pretty blue wave Democratic people, I got 5,000 followers almost that are all blue wave, and same with me. Like, I'll still vote Biden, but I'm not going to give him a free pass to just go and blow up anything he wants. We did that with Obama, and I'm still kind of waiting for Obama to get tried as a war criminal for some of the stuff that he's done. There's a whole book. I have it. I haven't read it, but I didn't have to. I've talked about this in another one. My buddy read it. Well, a former buddy, because he hates me because I don't care about COVID. Like, it's not that I don't care. It's that I'm not going to police other people for choosing not to get the vaccine. I got my vax. I got my shots. I had to. I wanted to. I've had COVID since then. It was like a cold. It was not that big of a deal. And when I've had it, I've quarantined as a responsible person so I don't get some old person sick or immunocompromised. So if someone just has a poor immune system, they could die from COVID. And that's a very real thing. So I'm like, okay, understood. I'm not going to go out in public. If I get COVID, I'm going to stay in, quarantine, and just chill. I can work from home, so it's really not that big of a blow if I did. Like, and in fact, I work from home most of the time anyway. So it's like, okay, whoop-de-doo. I just won't go out to a movie or a concert or stuff that I don't do anyway. So it's kind of, but and I would do that. And I lost this friend because I hung out with another friend, the genius that I talk about. He's a whiz at business and people and understanding people, listening. He's a great listener. Like, ah, one of the smartest guys I know, smartest people I know. Horrible in school. I remember, like, well, not horrible, but like to their standards, he was like falling behind, almost didn't graduate, this and that. Like they were all saying these mean things. But he didn't need that. The life that he carved out for himself that he wanted to do, he had everything he needed. He had the smarts, he had the showmanship, the business, the listening. And that doesn't mean that he can't go back and learn scholastic things or collegiate things. Like, nah. And that's why we stop people before they even start. And that's why there's a lot of trouble and a big gap between the people that can go to college and the people that can't. And I probably shouldn't have been able to go to college. It was a huge expense for me. My family wasn't exactly well off. My dad passed away when I was in high school, like, which actually his life insurance paid for the stuff that we did need, and including some court cases and some lawyer fees to the tune of like 20 grand that I didn't have. Nobody has that lying around. But guess what? If you get caught with some things, we're gonna make your life this and that. So, anyways, and we're changing it, thank goodness, because I don't want that to happen to anybody else. It happened to me, happened to a lot of my friends. I don't want anybody to go through that. It was horrible. And for what? Like, you're back on the street later, and if you don't actually change their behavior, their mind, or their thinking, like, they're going to just turn around and go do the same stuff again. Because guess what? You know, there's a reason it happened in the first place. It's not like it's, oh, you want to go shoot your foot with a nail gun? No thank you. You want to go party and have a bunch of fun and, like, talk to some really interesting people and go see exotic places and live this life that only a few can because of the legalities of it. And, like, same with, that's why, like, when I heard that, when that lady was telling me that Saudi Arabia already has it legal for, like, if you have a permit or a ticket, and if you're important, then you can do it for now. It's like a trial basis or whatever. What I guess that's fine. If you think about it, like, let the leaders test it out, make sure it's good for their people. If it's right for me, it's right for you, kind of thing. Like, I don't imagine that's going to be a long-term solution. That's going to be a probationary period to try it out. And same with Russia. I feel like we should stop the war immediately, stop the ceasefire there, no more weapons anywhere. In fact, I think we should pull all of our weapons out and stuff, and have Russia do the same. And then with the understanding of, hey, if you really want to prove that the USSR collapsed, then we need to see some fair elections, and like yesterday. So they need to hold elections. Putin should not be able to run because he's already been there way past his time. And I feel like that's the only thing that we really have an issue with anymore. Like, yeah, there's the little things, like the transgender thing, but guess what? We're blocking that here too. And I personally don't think that a kid should be able to transition unless they have the written consent and counseling of both of their parents or guardians. If there's only one, then, I mean, we should really examine that person's stability mentally, emotionally, economically. Like, why are they doing this? Why are they okay with this? And if it really is for the honest reason, same with abortion too. Like, people campaign on that, like, even in cases of rape and incest. And it's like, okay, that should go without saying. Like, if you get raped, and then, there should be some options. Also, blue eyes for the six. Anyways, doesn't matter. Oh, except he's gonna hurt himself. Um, anyways, no, because those kids look up to you, and if you lead them to do something like that, that's a life-changing thing, and then all it takes for you is, like, even just one person being like, you know what, I was tricked. I shouldn't have done this. Now I can't have kids. Now I look, this way for life. It's not like cosmetics, even though that's all the surgeries are about currently, and that's what I think finally got me blocked. Because I posted the law thing. South Park called it a while ago, and South Park is usually a very democratic, liberal cartoon that makes fun of Trump ridiculous amounts of Trump they make fun of, and Republicans in general. Like, they're very democratic people. However, they're like, wait, no, you're not gonna become a dolphin just because you do this surgery. You're gonna still be a man, and that's the same with transition surgery. You can't have a baby. You won't have a menstrual cycle. You won't have any of these worries. You can have the emotions, and we're getting closer that way with the hormones, the medications, the puberty blockers. Which, even saying that, puberty blockers, like, you're hindering that person to develop. Like, it's unnatural. It goes against things. It's playing God, basically. And I think that's why. But what else is science but playing God? Like, we're trying to figure things out so we can do them. Also, wait, this just looks like a little pond. I want to get more of a bird's eye view again. What are we working towards here? Pop up for a little bit of understanding. So we've got this area, this water area. We gotta connect that to here. Oh, and then I started walking up that way. Okay, because yeah, eventually we want to go boom. I don't know. And there is no one right answer to all of this. It's going to be a series of understanding, hearts and minds. Like that person, I need to find that. And that's one of the exact reasons I want to build this tool, is because it's so hard to scroll through all of the tweets and posts that I've done to find these things that I'm talking about. And it's like, oh wait, what was I talking about here and this? And like, oh yeah, this is a perfect example of an argument for this situation. So that's why a tool like that, it probably already exists, like I said. Also, I only have Unbreaking 2. Hmm. I need to enchant this better. So, to be continued, I suppose. I mean, because I'm going to break this shovel if I go too much further into this. And it has to come all the way down like that. Although I do like all this dirt because then that can make a nice farm. Dirt's pretty valuable, even though it doesn't seem like it. You know, you need it to grow crops, so. Alright. Yeah, we'll just leave the boat there too. Because I've got another one. I also have another chest up here so we can deposit that. Just trying to eyeball it like, okay, so it's about that level. That looks higher than that. Like elevation wise. Yeah. That looks like it's higher elevation than that. So it's going to be interesting. I might have to make like a gradual waterway anyway to change the elevation. So anyways, yeah. So I get in trouble, or I get argued with from both sides. Like, you know, pro-Trump people and then I get pats on the back from both sides, or kudos, like, oh, hey, that makes sense, or something. And my biggest thing is the propaganda being pushed out to be anti-Russia. Like, it is so evil to say anything other than screw Russia and Russia's evil. If you say anything other than that, then you get attacked. And I'm sorry, that's peer pressure all the same. Propaganda, peer pressure, strong arming, like, that's not changing the hearts and minds. And until transgenderism changes the hearts and minds, they need to chill out too. Like, especially if it's costing people their lives. And that's why I'm like mad about this. Like, I still support consenting adults to do whatever they want with their body. And that's actually one of the MAGA people I was discussing. He said all drugs should be legalized because, and let people figure it out themselves. Like, putting them in prison for it. And for the same reason. Like, the whole war on drugs and why people, drug dealers especially, are so imprisoned and incarcerated and, you know, harassed is because they're like the reasoning is because we don't want kids getting introduced to drugs. We don't want kids having to make these hard decisions or have it available for kids. Like, they're trying to protect kids. Oh, look at that. That's cool. You can start seeing it coming into view. Yeah, this whole bay is going to be, it's all lit up like it's like little pockets of light. But now that I know that bone meal can grow sea pickles, yeah, see, those aren't even generating on the coral. I'm going to put them, you can put them on the coral and they grow, but if you put them on the ground, I think there's just something different. Like, I don't know. It doesn't have the same mechanics, I guess is a good way to put that. Alright, wait, where are we at? Oh, yeah, we're almost done with this episode. I'm going to go enjoy some of my day off. And so these videos might get a little silly. And I might even switch to Fortnite or some Dark Souls. Oh, Dark Souls is so fun. I love that I'm playing the original one. I didn't even know there was a Dark Souls, a plain Dark Souls. Like, oh, hold on. Also, throat's really dry. Coffee, not drinking water. Talking for an hour, a lecture. And anyways. Oh. Excuse me, sir. And that's one of the dangers of leaving boats around. I did not mean for you to do that, and you go ahead. Go up there. Yes, be safe. But anyways, yeah, there's Dark Souls. It's remastered, the one that I got. But there's Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and it makes sense. Like, oh yeah, I mean, I can see that. And for some reason I thought Demon Souls was the first one, which is a completely different game. Oh, there's the alarm too. And I've watched Fightin' Cowboy play it all the way through, and so, but I haven't watched Dark Souls, just the regular Dark Souls. So this is all new to me, and I'm gonna keep it that way. And I encourage anybody to play the games that I do in these videos. Play them first, give them a shot, you know, and then you can come watch these things, and you might learn a bunch of stuff. I know watching Waddles, I learned a ton about mechanics, and then we just learned more, like what the hopper stuff for furnaces. You can make a furnace and you can hook up two hoppers to it, or at least for a blast furnace, you can have two hoppers, one that feeds in the ores and one that feeds in the fuel. In fact, I should do that just to get like a ton of ore. Maybe, oh, maybe that's what we should do. Let's make a gigantic, we started to do this, but we should make a gigantic zombie piglin farm in the nether and then just get a bunch, because once you get going, and especially if you were to put like hoppers and maybe like a collection system underneath. Like you could collect all of the stuff that they drop, and you're just killing them as they run up to the wall, and they can't attack you unless they have a crossbow, which the zombie piglin never do. So as long as you don't offend the regular piglin and you're wearing gold and all that, and you're fine, then the zombie piglin will just come up, and it's an endless source of gold. So yeah, we should do that. Then I could get like I could. Oh, yeah, I've got an idea. So, anyways, I'm gonna take a break, go do some things. I'll be back, and maybe we'll build a zombie piglin farm, a more effective one than the one that we already built. So, ta-ta for now. Be kind to everybody, especially the people you really don't agree with, because often chances they agree with a lot more than you think, and they disagree with a lot of the same things that you think. It's just our divisive politics, and it's a lot accidental too. It's just because only one of two parties can win, and any third party really doesn't have a chance in the way our politics work. So you're either with us or you're against us, and that's the binary. It's either one choice or the other way that our politics have gone, and it's sad, and we're kind of regaining it. But you get people like Bernie and AOC that are seen as radicals, then you get people like what is it, Joe Manchin or whatever, or Manchkin, or the guy that's like all got he's in the pockets of a bunch of big oil, and he's like constantly voting against things that Biden tries to do, and it's like, but yeah, he's a Democrat, and and there's a wide range of people that approve, disapprove, dislike, LGBTQ. And I don't think anybody hates gay people anymore, but the transitioning one, it's like, okay, wait, hold on. I don't want my kid thinking that then they can't have kids and I can't have grandkids. Like even, and there's the whole bloodline argument with that, which anymore, if my kids both wanted to do that, that's fine, but I would want them to adopt some kids. Like I don't want them to miss out on the joys of parenthood. Like I feel like that's something everybody should be able to experience. There's a lot of kids out there that don't have great homes that could use that. So, anyways, that's my soapbox. Hmm. Ta ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Going for a swim.